Hello, everybody. Greetings from Confederation of Medical Association of Asia and Oceania. Welcome to 21st weekly meeting of the CMAAO. I'm going to talk some basic things today, because today many of the people have sent their regrets. So I thought of sharing one thing which I have prepared, which can be taken up as a document of CMAAO. I'm going to share some slides to all of you. So let me acknowledge presence of Dr. Subramanian, Dr. Jamal Chaudhary, Dr. Russell D'Souza, Mari, Dr. Marthanda Pillai, Dr. Prakash, and Dr. Sanchita. With that, so I want to share the screen. So what I have done is I have tried to find a number. If all of us can agree on this. So in COVID-6, I have tried to find out a number for our undergraduates, for our public to remember. So 6 things to remember in COVID-19. First of all is everything has 6, 6, 6, 6. Whatever we do is a number of 6. Those who believe in cricket, those who are lovers of cricket would vouch that one-day matches are not won by fours, they are won by sixes. Therefore, if you want to win over COVID, we need to remember the word 6. So first of all, if you are not having any COVID, ask yourself, am I at risk? What 6 things you will remember? My age, my sex, am I vaccinated? Am I having any comorbid condition? Am I immunocompromised? Am I a high-risk profession? Here, high-risk profession, I have written a healthcare worker. So these 6 things you will write and calculate your plan. So what is my age? By advancing age, I need more precautions. Male sex, I need more precautions. I have not been vaccinated for BCG, MMR. I'm not vaccinated for flu, pneumonia. Then I might at a higher risk. Am I comorbid, specifically high insulin level states? All conditions which comes under metabolic syndrome are comorbid. Am I immunocompromised, not immunomodulated? Immunomodulation gives you protection. Immunocompromise gives you a high risk. Am I my profession? Am I dealing with a micro droplets? So am I at risk? Look for 6 things. Is my environment at risk? Where my place of working, my room, my office, my travel, my kitchen, my drying and dining table, and my toilet. These are the 6 places you should see whether they are ventilated or not, and whether there are any chances of conversion of a droplet into micro droplet. Then you come back. Once you have done these 2 prevention, then you say, am I prepared? Who is going to be my treatment doctor? I cannot treat myself. Which hospital I will connect to if I need an admission? Do I have a standby oxygen with me or not? Do I have a first aid box? Do whom do I need to notify that I am positive or I am suspected? And how will I ask which laboratory I'm going to talk to come home and take my sample? And then what do I do if I get it? Again, 6 things. Do I need to isolate myself? If I isolate myself, where? How do I quarantine my family? How do I inform my contacts in the last 2 days that you kindly quarantine yourself? I will interpret the rapid antigen or the RT-PCR based on CT value. I will start observing for my symptoms, and I will start the treatment prescribed for day one. Day one is the day you decide to treat becomes a day one. Observation days. I will observe myself for 6 important durations, day 1 to 6, then day 9, then day 14, day 28, day 40, and day 90. Between day 1 and 6 days, I will observe for hypoxemia. I will observe myself for a development of any complication. Day 9, I will appeal that I should be allowed to meet my family. Day 14, I should say my quarantine should be out. Day 28, should I donate plasma donation? Day 40, I will make sure that my science, all parameters have become normal. And day 90, I want to be sure all residual effects of corona have gone. During the first 9 days, I will do the following 6 things. I will see to it my nutrition is maintained. Therefore, I will take all types of supplements. I will do a 6-minute walk test every day. I will look for a cohort isolation. That means positive people can live together. I will go for my required blood test to see whether there is rapid rise in ESR and CRP or not. I will do a teleconsultation with my doctor every day, and I will follow the prescribed treatment. Between 9 to 90 days, I will ask for the following 6 things. I will observe myself for post-COVID symptoms. I will appeal on day 9 and 14 to come out of quarantine and on isolation. I will look, do I need to do a plasma donation? I will check whether I have developed antibodies or not. I will check my antigen CT value whenever I repeat my next antigen, and I will make sure I maintain my nutrition for 90 days. Sixth thing to tackle COVID-19. During the first 6 days, remember the formula of 6, that during the first 6 days at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m., do a 6-minute walk test. Look for the 6 parameters, maintaining a distance of 6 feet. What are those 6 parameters? On walking for 6 minutes, do I develop shortness of breath, cough or difficulty in talking? Does my SpO2 starts falling? Does my temperature increase? Is my distance reducing? And am I developing an increased heart rate? So these are the 6 tests you need in 6-minute walk test. Then on day 1, between day 1, you get 6 blood tests done. On day 1, get 6 blood tests done, CBC with ESR, CBC to see for leukocytic lymphocytes and eosinophils, and ESR, then CRP, then LDH, ferritin, D-dimer, and IL-6. These are 6 baseline tests which may be required to see the severity later on. I must make sure that I have 6 instruments at my home to manage myself. I have a SpO2 monitor, peak expiratory flow rate, a BP instrument, a digital thermometer, a glucometer, and an opportunity to test my smell and taste. When I am having sick, whenever comes in my house, whosoever comes in my house, whether he is anybody who visits my house, I will give him a jaggery to eat to check his taste, give a rose to smell to check his smell, ask him to wash his feet, ask him to wash his feet and hands, ask him to do a gargles with povidone iodine, do namaste, and place him to sit in a higher pedestal so that there is no face-to-face meeting. When I go for a RT-PCR test, I ask them which out of the 6, which antigen you are testing. E antigen, N antigen, S antigen, RDRP antigen, ORF1A antigen, and ORF1B antigen. Whenever I go, I maintain a distance of 6 feet. To decontaminate, I add 6 grams of bleaching powder in 900 ml of water to make it a 0.1% solution. Whenever I'm asking myself to get treated, I will look for 6 options. Do I need oxygen? Do I need a plasma? Do I need steroids? Do I need heparin? Do I need antibiotics? Do I need antiviral drugs? For prevention, I will talk about 6 things. My contact time, if I have met somebody, so I will ask myself 6 things, that in the last 48 hours, what was my contact time? What was it, less than 15 minutes? My contact distance, was it less than 6 feet? Was the area cross ventilated? Was it a 48 hours, before 48 hours? Was the person wearing a mask? Was he coughing or sneezing? Whenever I have an appeal, I make an appeal to my, if these are the 6 different types of appeals required by a person. Prevent. I have a right to prevent. Therefore, I can appeal to my management that all prevention facilities must be provided. I have a right to get tested, so I can tell my management I need a test. I have a right to get a home quarantine, so I can appeal to the government, kindly place me at home. I have a right to have 2 people positive stay together, so I can ask for cohort. I can appeal on day 9, finish my isolation, shift me to quarantine, and on day 14, that I can appeal that stop my quarantine and shift me to a monitoring facility. For cleaning and sanitization, there are 6 ways. You require a soap, you require a sanitizer, you require a disinfectant, you can have a UV, ozone, or an air purifier. Whenever you are eating and there is a loss of taste, you look for 6 tastes. In COVID, which taste goes? Astringent, bitter, pungent, sweet, sour, and salt. Except for pungent and bitter, all taste goes away. Look for the following 6 mistakes which should not happen. Missing the first case in the family, missing the first cluster in your house or a colony, looking the first spread in your colony, not interpreting antigen tests properly, not interpreting antibodies tests properly, and missing the first 3 days, because day 3 pneumonia develops. And today we know pneumonia means steroids. Not giving steroids on day 3 if pneumonia develops. And there are 6 types of supplements you should consider. Vitamin C. Vitamin C is supposed to be good for any respiratory disease. Vitamin D, because you are indoor, and small intestinal inflammation and hair fall, massive hair fall is linked to vitamin D. Iron, because iron is also absorbed in small intestine. B12, you may get a B12 deficiency in this particular condition. And you can consider thymosin alpha, which is an extract of a thymus gland. There's the recent research going on thymosin alpha, which are the extracts of thymus gland. And this you can consider further. And then if you want to define the new definition of this virus is also having 6 components. It is acute, it is manageable, it is thrombo, immuno, inflammatory disease with post-viral state. So it has 6 components. This virus also behaves with 6 different ways, sometimes like a virus. Sometimes it looks like, am I dealing with a bacteria? Sometimes it looks like, oh my God, it has some characteristics of an HIV virus. Sometimes it looks like a immunoinflammatory, sometimes like a thromboinflammatory, and sometimes like a cytokine storm. So these are the things which I have been able to formulate to remember everything in terms of 6. I am still working on it. I thought everywhere I'm trying to find out a formula of 6 so that it's easy to remember for undergraduate and postgraduate and the public. Everything can be sorted out in 6 things. I rest my case here for discussions. Elvin has also joined.
Hello.
Yes, how are you?
Hi.
So the whole idea was to simplify total teaching, and with the simplification, It's easier to remember. It's easier not to miss. You always say, oh my God, six treatment, which treatment I'm missing? So everywhere the word six.
very
Everywhere
good.
the word six.
Dr. Aggarwal, could I raise a point?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Actually, in recent this WHO circulation, we have seen that the distance to maintain is 1 meter. So only CDC, they say in America, this is 2 meter. So it's in August, probably in the first week of August, they have given it again. So it has been reconfirmed that the distance should be 1 meter, because and especially in underdeveloped countries or less developed countries, actually it should be maintained 1 meter, because 2 meters is very difficult here. Actually, all working people are there, so it's very difficult for. So
I will change
I
it.
think
Ideal. I will change it to ideal 6 meter. I will change that word to ideal 6 feet. Ideal, but then it can
no,
be.
no, but the WHO recommended for 1 meter only.
Agreed.
It has
Agreed.
reiterated again.
Agreed. That's a good observation. I'll take it up.
And the second point is the sixth target, this gene target, which this RT-PCR is doing actually. Whether these are antigens or they are telling this is the target, gene target. Antigen, if you say it antigen, then it will create confusion between the
Agreed.
RT-PCR test and the antigen test. Antigen test is a different thing, and RT-PCR test is a different thing. So
Agreed.
RT-PCR actually detects
That's the
this
RNA.
6 year, right? And that is actually, this is envelope, this spike and the nucleic acid. These are all this is the this screening for screening purposes. And what if 1A and what if 1B and the RDRP? These are the confirmatory. So I just confirmed with the virologist and
So,
IDCR
so
Institute.
E is a envelope, which
Envelope.
is
S is
common to
spike. Yeah.
all the coronaviruses.
Yeah.
If
Yes.
E is negative, corona is ruled out. That is step one. In step two, you do either RDRP or
Yes.
ORF1A or ORF1B or N antigen or a combination of the two. And if that is positive, that is specific for
Now,
COVID-19. In
but
RT-PCR, we test the RNA. In
but but
RT-PCR, in
uh,
RT-PCR, we test the RNA, and antigen test, we check the antigen. So these are RDRP, and these are not the actual antigens. RDRP and ORF1A and 1B are actually not the antigens. They are called as, what is the term for them? There is a
this is
specific.
this is actually, they say, the target, gene target
Yes,
actually.
these are the gene target, but they have a
Right.
specific name. I'm forgetting that name. Anyway, go ahead further.
And then actually in Bangladesh, I have asked them actually, because I am not a specialist in this subject. So they have confirmed that actually when the tests are running, they're both they are for the screening and the confirmatory are running together
Yes.
in one actually kit, that is true. Yeah. And so whenever they are doing the screening, and that they are doing the confirmatory also. So
Hmm.
in other day, actually, I was not present in this meeting because there was actually 15th August. Actually, we observed National Mourning Day, the day of the killing of our father of the nation and his family. So I couldn't attend that meeting. And that I have seen in the literature you have sent by email. I've seen there you're just asking whether the country just testing one antigen, and the other countries we are testing other. So where in one country it's negative, in another country it's getting positive. They are telling no. It is both actually. This screening as well as confirmatory, they are done actually.
No, no,
So
no.
it is confirmed,
I'll
something
come
like
back.
that.
I'll come back. What we meant was,
Yeah, yeah,
what we are trying to say is that there are 6 different types of testing. Okay.
yeah.
Now, E antigen will be common all over the world. So that's fine. Now you have different gene targets you are testing. Now, for example, I have done RDRP in Delhi and reported as RT-PCR negative. They will say, we have checked for RDRP, which is negative, which rules out COVID-19. But they have not checked the S protein. S protein, suppose in Bangladesh, you check the S protein. Now, S protein is positive. You will say RT-PCR positive. That's what I meant. So what I meant to say is whenever you go to other country, when you are taking your report from your country, you need to take which antigen you have tested, which gene target you have tested. Because we have no data to say which gene target becomes negative on what day, which can remain positive. We know today that gene targets can remain positive in our body for 120 days. 120 days. So therefore, which gene target will stay? So therefore, if I am in India, I get a report of RT-PCR positive. I have recovered from corona. I have recovered. But the gene target you are testing in your country is different. If it turns out to be positive, I lose my journey. So
Yes.
therefore, you need to know which gene target you are testing in your country. This was the case which was discussed last time. That a case went to Dubai. Their
Yeah.
gene target was different. Therefore, they asked him to go back or quarantine for 14 days. That poor person had to take the flight back and come back. So this is what we are trying to say is that RT-PCR negative has no meaning unless you know which gene target you are testing. There is no evidence to say today which gene target can remain positive for 120 days. So therefore, those people who says my RT-PCR is positive for 120 days, it may be a specific gene target which is positive, RNA is negative. That's what I'm trying to say.
So this can it be ventilated to the government actually so that they just maintain
Government
this
is,
record?
see, government has no time to listen to minor things.
No, this is
Government,
not minor. This is not
I
minor
just
actually.
listen,
You're
just
just
listen,
telling
just
that.
listen, just listen. Government is still busy in checking the disease in various states. So they are not even ready to listen that isolation is different from quarantine. They are not even ready to listen. They says we will consider the date of infection on the day of testing, which is wrong. It has to be the day of symptom. If they are not changing that policy, if you get your test done on day 14 or day 15, and if your antigen is positive, they will quarantine you for the next 17 days. They will keep on quarantining you for 120 days if your antigen is positive. Therefore, people have stopped doing the testing. So therefore, government has their own priorities. But as an academic bodies, these recommendations we are finalizing, we will be sending to all of you. You can circulate it to your government. I agree
No,
with you.
that right. Thank you so much. This is very important. Actually, you are just telling that something is impeding the journey, and yeah, that is the thing.
Yes,
This
that
is
is
very
happening.
important
That
actually.
is happening because in
Uh,
every
can I
country,
just can I just confirm it that
your gene target may be different.
yeah, can I just confirm it from you if you have any further information? Actually, I have seen in Dubai they are just testing it by the dogs actually, trained dogs. Is it actually confirmatory?
So there
They
are
have
people,
tested
these are
dogs.
screening, these are not confirming, these are screening. Screening means if the dog sniffles out something, then they do the testing. So these are
Oh,
not, these are like, instead of testing everybody, they will do the testing of only where the dog confirms it may be. So these are sniffer dogs are available. Sniffer dogs have been used for TB and many other diseases. So technology is going on, and that is going to be the future. Future is going to be computer sniffing and dog sniffing. That is going to be the future.
thank you.
Alvin, then Mari, Prakash, Dr. Pillai,
Uh,
Dr.
Thank you,
Subramanian.
KK. Thank you, KK. Your briefing has been very useful. You always simplify things and present it in such a way that you can remember it and follow it. And to that extent, your briefing of 6 is definitely good. And this antigen test, RT-PCR, is a gold standard even in India. So that is a basic test that we go by. Even the positivity of that, again, all of us know, comes to 63%. or 70%. And if you repeat that test, at least for the economic purpose or epidemiological survey, if you repeat it, again, we find that another 10-20% do become positive. But you have to, on a large scale or a mass testing program, you have to go by a gold standard, and that is definitely RT-PCR.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you, Dr. Pillai.
Dr. Dr. Aggarwal, can I just raise another point? Very important.
I will request Dr. Chaudhary to sum up the whole thing. Let others speak. Then you sum up the whole discussion. Dr. Elvin, and then Dr. Subramaniam, Mari, Prakash, in that sequence. And then Dr. Jamal Chaudhary can sum up the whole thing and give his final opinion.
Yes, Dr. KK, I think your rule of 6 practical, and it's good to have such mnemonic. And I think now for the strategies of each country would need to deal with the impending third wave, or deterioration of the situation with this with the winter and autumn approaching. And in Hong Kong, there is a dilemma whether to have the so-called strict rules relaxed or not. Now we have the third wave coming down already. Only about 18 local cases a day. In contrast to the situation in July, where we have over 140 confirmed cases a day. Now it's only 18. So it's coming down, but then we are going to launch an en masse population screening. We don't know the response from that because it's a voluntary screening test. So the results might just pick up less than 100 positive cases. I don't know. We want to know the carriers, the silent cases spreading, asymptomatic cases spreading in the community. But at the same time, we still have to continue with the high-risk group tracing, the contact tracing. So with data from the population screening, perhaps the government would have changed their policies, whether to continue with the strict rules or will relax to have more gathering people in the community. But we are worried that if there are more social gathering and public meals, again, the third wave or fourth wave could come back again. So it's a dilemma. So I just don't know in your countries, how do you deal with the situation now? With the vaccines probably be available next year. So how are we going to deal with this dilemma? When to relax the strict rules of social gathering and social distancing, and then however, we have the limited number of beds in the hospitals. That is, we are so worried because that might exhaust, overwhelm our medical system. And so do you carry out population testing, screening in your nations?
If anybody want to share the Zero survey of your country. if anybody wants to share, I will tell you in Delhi, the Sero survey, the first Sero survey showed a month back 22.8% sero prevalence. The Sero survey done in this week had shown 28% of the people have developed antibodies, and out of which less than 18 years, 34.7%, 18 to 49 years, 28.5%, more than 50 years, 31.2%, male 28.3%, female 32.3%. Pune has shown 50.5% seroprevalence. Mumbai in a semi-urban area, that is a slum area, has shown a seroprevalence of 57%. That's what the seroprevalence in India has been. Welcome, our chair also has come.
So the zero, sorry, can I ask you, these positiveness are the serum antibody?
No. There are two things. One is positivity of the antigen, and second is seroprevalence. Seroprevalence is of antibodies. Positivity rate is of antigen. The positivity rate in Delhi today is 7%. The positivity rate of less than 5%, the disease is under control. More than 10%, you say disease is uncontrolled. The prevalence, the positivity rate in India is 7% as on today. Delhi is also 6.7%. But seroprevalence means how many people have already got infected. That the data is available only from Delhi, Mumbai, and Pune and Ahmedabad. In Delhi, it is 28.35%.
Can I just share a Bangladesh survey?
Yes,
Recently, Bangladesh, the Institute of IDCR, that is Institute of Epidemiology, has confirmed that they have conducted a survey, and there actually it has been done by the RT-PCR, not the serosurveillance itself, but they have taken samples from the different regions of Dhaka city, that is the capital city, and it is highly populated, densely populated, and it has come out 9%. 9% is having the coronavirus. 9% of the population. That is a huge number because in reality we are showing only the 40,000 people are infected at present having the coronavirus, but actually it is more than 1.8 to 2 million. 1.8 to 2 million. So you can just compare it. That's 1:40 for 50.
So
it's huge.
Absolutely. This is when you have a positivity rate of more than 10%, you say that every patient getting admitted in a hospital must be tested. Less than 5%, you call this as an endemic. So 9% is still less than 10%. So that means the disease is coming under control. It is not out of control. When the positivity rate is more than 10%, you declare it like an emergency. That's what I'm trying to say. So 9% means Bangladesh is now getting control.
But no, but you cannot say because the sample
in Delhi, when we was in peak, our positivity rate was 33%. That means 100 samples collected, 33 were positive. So if you are developing 9, I'm very happy that you have been able to control it.
No, but sample size was very small actually, you know.
Doesn't matter.
Sample size
counts. Doesn't matter. I have Dr. Abul Hassan, who is the national in charge of JDN in our country. He has some important announcement and a request to make to all CMAAO countries. Abul.
Good morning. I am Dr. Abul Hassan, Chairman of IMA JDN Network. Sir, IMA JDN is one of the very vibrant wing of Indian Medical Association. We have more than 1 lakh junior doctors are members in our IMA JDN work network, sir. We have been carrying out a lot of activities with regards to medical entrepreneurship, leadership development, and also research, medical research. We are having today convention from today evening and also tomorrow evening, sir. We are envisaged to have a CMAAO JDN session tomorrow after 4:30, sir, after Dr. K.K. Aggarwal speaks. JDN always wanted to have a very close coordination, collaboration with the CMAAO JDN. Our team had come to Malaysia and attended CMAAO conference there. And we also here back in India in the Goa conference also we had participated and had a separate session, sir. So I wholeheartedly invite you, the members of CMAAO countries, to allow the representatives of junior doctors in our country or your good self to participate in the Zoom meeting tomorrow after 4:30, sir. It is my humble invitation from all the doctors, junior doctors of Indian Medical Association. Thank you for the opportunity.
We have make a request. Send it to right away. We still have 20 minutes.
Okay.
You make a request and officially give the request. Send it to me as a WhatsApp.
Okay.
Right away, I will put it into CMAAO WhatsApp group.
Very
Everybody will get it. And
very good, sir.
Also email to all the countries to join tomorrow. So, but then
thank you, sir.
Right away make a request and WhatsApp me right here, sitting here in the next.
Okay, sir.
Along with the link. Along with.
Sir, a couple of minutes you will get it, sir. You will get it.
Along with the link. Along with the link.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Sure, sir.
Go ahead.
Thanks.
Pooja is drafting. Pooja is my editor. She is drafting on the completion of 5th September, because our first year will be over. We will be again carrying on for another 1 year. So Pooja is compiling a report. So Pooja is here. Pooja will share her email address and the link. So Pooja is kindly address Pooja.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, sir. So you all would have received a mail regarding best practices in your countries in tackling COVID-19. So what we are doing is we are compiling a book for the best practices, good practices, the success stories from different countries, how they were able to manage or tackle COVID-19 situation in their respective countries. This would be a very good book for everyone to use because it compiles all best practices in one place. So I would request all of you to please share your success stories with us. You have Saurabh's email ID and I will also share my email ID here in the chat box. So by end of this month.
This will be a CMAAO compendium. This will be a CMAAO compendium which will be released on 5th September, which is again Saturday. And on Saturday, 5th September, we will release this compendium. If possible, kindly share your journey of your NMA in the COVID journey, your COVID journey with success story. So Pooja will be reminding you people on a daily basis. So at least we should be able to get it with that. Thank you, Pooja.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I've shared my email address in the group chat, so everybody can take it from there.
So Saurabh can also include you into the CMAAO group. You start corresponding there.
So,
thank
you, sir.
Anybody else who wants to?
Dr. KK.
Yes.
Yeah, one thing in Nepal for the emergency case, they are using the gene export machine for the diagnosis of the corona. And they are telling that it is the more specific than the PCR also. Is it true or what?
See, they are gene expert will give you diagnosis much earlier, and specificity is 100%, but the sensitivity varies. The RT-PCR will still remain the gold standard, but gene expert, yes. Again, it depends upon which gene you are targeting. Question comes is, if even in this, which gene you are targeting? Most of them are targeting RDRP gene. They may not be targeting the S spike protein.
S spike protein is the best gene, yeah, for the diagnosis.
No, we don't know. We have no data which gene is causing which symptoms in the body. We have no data. Like, see, remember hepatitis B vaccine, the hepatitis B virus. We have S antigen, we have core antigen, and we have nuclear antigen. So there are three types of antigens there. Similarly, here we have three antigens. In hepatitis B, we know which antigen comes first and which antigen comes later. But here we don't know.
If I can add
Thank
one
you,
more
Dr.
point, even Gene Expert and TrueNat, in the hospital level, we are doing it. Say, for example, a delivery or a cesarean section or an emergency surgery, then RT-PCR or a Gene Expert is done, but the sensitivity is only 50%. So at least by 50%, the risk is reduced, particularly in emergency procedures.
Thank you, Pillai.
So I want to have the chair to speak something. Mari, after that.
Morning, President. Hi. Greetings to everybody as usual. Here in Singapore, we are experiencing the tail end of our dormitory outbreak. We're down to less than 100 cases a day now. And our community cases in the last 1 week is about maybe 0 to 2 a day. So we are really getting under control here. But the challenge remains of the next wave, which is what we're very worried about. And of course, the economy is very badly affected. So we are looking, as we are very sort of like we depend on the region for our economy. So we are looking to open up the travel, and we're looking at opening up to, for example, selected destinations like New Zealand, Brunei, and certain countries like China and Vietnam, and so on. And we're looking at, for example, travelers coming in from these regions having just to serve a stay-home notice of maybe 7 days. So that is where we are going to cautiously opening up the economy, but very, very worried about the next wave. Thank you.
So I would like somebody to work on this statement that for an international travel, if in the last 48 hours, you can demonstrate a certificate that all your gene targets are negative, can the quarantine be waived off? I mean, hypothesis that in the last 48 hours of journey, if somebody can produce a certificate certified by the embassy that this person has undergone all gene targets are negative, so therefore can their quarantine be waived off? If that is not done, international tourism will not increase. International tourism will not increase. A person going for a one-day work, if he has to quarantine himself for 7 days, he will not go. He will not go. If you really want to have, then it is the medical fraternity who has to come back with a guideline, not the government. So if the medical fraternity can certify that if an organization like CMAAO can pass a resolution to the government, various governments, and even if one government accepts, then the second will follow, that our is very clear is that if all the gene targets are negative in the last 48 hours, why should a person be quarantined? That's my hypothesis. Somebody can work on it. Somebody can work on it. 2 or 3 of you can work on it as a statement.
No, but Dr. Kekego, like this is actually, if it is done, the sample is given 48 hours before the journey. But if you contract within 24 hours or less than time, so how you can just scientifically?
I said they will always be an error, but most of the times there are restrictions that in the last 48 hours, if you have met somebody, then you are not supposed to, you are supposed to inform. Then you are supposed to inform, but by 97 to 98%, it is fine. See, even if you are quarantining somebody for 7 days, you are also taking a risk because incubation period is 14 days. There also you are taking a risk. So that risk has to be taken because ideal quarantine period is 14 days, incubation period is 14 days, up to 14 days.
Yeah.
But there also you are reducing it to 7 days. Similarly, you have to reduce the risk. It cannot be 100% proof.
That's right.
I'm only trying to say is unless medical body recommend that quarantine is,
can it be done this on the day of just landing at the airport? They can do it antigen test.
that they can,
Can it be possible?
they can do a screening antigen test and
Yes, that's
allow
it.
not to quarantine. If you are going to, if you are going, if your country is going to, if I come to if I come to Bangladesh, and if you are going to quarantine me for 7 days, I will never come.
No, not at all. This is good. This is good. But can we suggest that they should do it in the airport antigen test?
But question comes is a country would say, how can we afford 10,000 people coming and doing the antigen test?
No, that they will have to pay.
No. Question is not paying.
Okay.
Question is the logistics.
President, very interesting. You actually hit a little. You actually made a little interesting point there, and that is what happened was that our transport minister was telling us that how they're looking at, for example, Brunei and Singapore. They look at the number of flights coming into Singapore from Brunei. For example, is maybe 2 flights a week, and if it's 500 passengers, then they are looking at also the absolute numbers coming in from this country. And they look at the prevalence rate of the COVID in that country. So they're doing some calculations in terms of the number of passengers coming from that country, what is the prevalence rate of that country. So they are also taking that into consideration and not just the testing.
Agreed. I said all those are fine, but you have to, unless you, if you want to open up economy, either we decide that we will not open schools, we will not open international travel for the next 2 years. Fine.
Yeah.
But then if you want to open, then you have to be liberal in quarantine period.
Yes. Your point is taken.
So Dr. Subramaniam, I'll now end up by taking views of the people. Prakash hasn't spoken. Prakash spoke about it. Dr. Subramaniam.
Yes. Good morning, all of you. In fact, afternoon for us here. Yeah, actually, talking about travel, of course, the economy is affecting most countries. Our country, we are still controlling travel. Now, we had our infection rate or the contamination rate low until very recently. There was one traveler who came from India and came to a particular place. From there, a new group has developed. And that's what we have, our in fact, at our rate at this moment of new cases is about, we were in single digit. Now we have reached about 17 yesterday, out of which the local transmission is about 4, and the rest is from out people who have come in from here and there. Recently, one flight that came in from Indonesia to Penang in Malaysia also brought in some cases. I'm not quite sure of the number of cases, but now the northern part of Malaysia has become almost changing zone from green to almost getting to red, because we call it the Sivaganga cohort, because this came from the South India, Sivaganga. The gentleman who went to visit his native land came back, and he is actually a restaurant owner, and then it spread to a wide area. Now the country has actually taken a stand. Of course, we have got strict regulations now. All must wear masks. The social distancing is a must. Gathering have been reduced in numbers. We opened up local travel within Malaysia, but not international travel yet. So we are actually beginning to be under control. We are very more concerned about people coming in. They're all being tested at the airport too. Now, this gentleman also was tested at the airport and told to quarantine himself. So what we did was they did change to hotel or accommodation quarantine to home quarantine, but he did not follow. And that has quickly spread to a large number of people, of nearly about 60, 70 people, because his neighbor, his family, and so on and so forth. But we have taken things under control now. Our mortality rate hasn't gone up. It always stays at 125 for quite some time now. But our new cases are actually dropped to about Yesterday was 13. Yesterday was 13. So but we follow strict SOPs. Now, anybody who doesn't follow certain things, they'll be caught and fined. You cannot go out in a public place without a mask. You cannot stay very close to each other. The 1 meter distance is being observed. It doesn't matter where we go. So we are actually in a way under control. If we can actually control even visitors from coming in, and the visitors follow the SOPs carefully. Otherwise, we seem to be under control now.
So thank you, Dr. Subramaniam. I want to add another 6 to what Dr. Subramaniam was talking about. And this another 6 is the virus mutations which have happened. Most important 6 virus mutations which have happened. The first virus which came in China was the virus L. Then there was a mutation to S, S to V, V to G, and from G to GH and GR. So these are the 6 viral mutations. The mutation which is G mutation, which is called as 614, that means on the spike protein 614th gene, there was a mutation from D to G. D is aspartic acid and G is glycine. So the amino acid got substituted from aspartic acid to glycine. So therefore, there are 3 types of viruses, D614 and G, 2 types of viruses, D614 and G614. So this virus, which Dr. Subramaniam is talking, which has come into Malaysia, is a virus which is normally spreading in the Europe. So people are having concern that this mutated virus, which has entered Malaysia, which was absent in the Asia, can it cause a new wave like European wave? That's the concern. Fortunately, D and G mutations are interchangeable. These mutation antibodies are even the vaccine antibodies are neutralizing each other. And this 614 gene is not present on the spike, what is that called as rapid RBG, whatever it is called as that. It is not present there. So therefore, it may be more contagious, but will be less virulent, and vaccine will not make a difference. So everybody today is talking about that is called as a D614G mutation. So everybody should remember. So there is a mutation called D614G, means on 614 gene, D is replaced by G. That's how a mutation is written. So D614G means on 614th gene of the spike of the coronavirus, there was D, now it has been replaced by G. That means there are 2 types of viruses, original D and second is substituted G. Their antibodies are interchangeable. Their antibodies are interneutralizable, but making it G, it makes the virus more contagious but less virulent. That's what the current is. Some people are saying that if it is less virulent, then why the mortality was high in Italy? So this is the hottest debate going on today. Once this case was detected in Malaysia, they said there was a person who came from India to Malaysia. He ditched the airport. He did not observe the quarantine rule, and he created 2 spikes, 2 clusters in Malaysia because of this new gene. This we can take it up next week. We can take it up. I think the next week I'll try to prepare on virology, more about virology, and that can be a good discussion for each country, because we must know what virology is, what is D gene, what is spike gene, what is E gene. So even I am not an expert, I will take help of people and try to simplify that level as much as possible. I'll now request Mari to say a few words, and then finally Russell and then Jamal to sum up. Mari.
Thank you very much for everything. I'm sorry, I'm on the train right now, so I can't speak right now. So just say thank you. Thank you.
Marty is in train. She is in a bullet train. She's, yes, Russell.
Thank you.
Look, here in Australia, there is no travel. All travel has been stopped, except for special permissions and so forth. But the other part is that, as you know, we're having in Victoria, or at least Melbourne, we had that breakdown from the quarantine problem, but it's all coming under control. This is now 2 weeks of the stage 4 lockdown. So but it's still the age into the epidemic in the aged services that is still it's coming under control, but they're having deaths from all those people in the nursing homes. A few deaths are continuing. So that's the state in Australia. But the rest of the state, 4 of them have virtually no virus at all, no community spread. New South Wales has got, I think 1 or 2 they had, but this is like gradually coming. So there's no travel inside within Australia too. They've stopped most of the flights and so forth. Yeah.
Dr. Aggarwal, before summing up, actually, could I just raise one point to you? Because I have seen the India's number of cases are increasing day by day. And what are the measures actually taking it to India to curb the infection? Actually, I'm just concerned about Bangladesh also. So I just want to hear whether any special things are or the laws implemented, or just lacking of implementation of laws, something like that. Social distancing, regarding to distancing.
There are a couple of ways to look at it. All those countries who have been able to check their progression of the disease is only postponing, they are only postponing their disaster. Okay. They have their social distancing is possible. They are educated society. They can maintain physical distancing. Till a vaccine comes, you can postpone your disease as much as you can. One mistake, you get a cluster. Okay. In India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, it is impossible to maintain a physical distancing. Therefore, you will have to get the disease. In Delhi, 23.28%, Mumbai, 50%. So in India, I don't think so, even if the vaccine comes, the society will get it. It will be impossible for India to give vaccine to so many people in the society. It will be impossible. So therefore, ultimately, in areas where social distancing is not possible, physical distancing is not possible, getting antibodies will be the answer. I don't think so. You cannot. How can you have a physical distancing making mandatory when 10 people are living in an area of 10 by 10? You can't even maintain a 1 foot area. You're talking about a 6 feet area. You cannot. Whatever you do, the priority for the people is to, people say that taking precautions for the full year and is better to get the disease for 9 days. That's how people are reacting. And now the mortality rate is so low, people are recovering. So I think in India, you cannot prevent the disease. Kerala can, but Delhi, Mumbai, the downtown area cannot. The downtown area cannot. So therefore, we cannot compare ourselves to Australia, New Zealand. We cannot. The time has gone for us to have a 1 year lockdown. It's not possible.
But what did you think that the implementing the law regarding the mask, using mask, if it is enforced,
Question comes is that 30% of the people today have come out of coronavirus. They are corona negative. That means their antibodies are developed. Can you force them masking? Which law? Which law can force masking on somebody who has developed antibodies? 30%, that means 1/3 of the population in Delhi has developed antibodies. Now it's a matter of either we CMAAO comes out with an evidence and say that you can get reinfection. You
Yeah.
need to have a mask after that. We have no evidence. So legally, how can, suppose if I am already have antibodies, how can you force me to wear a mask? So therefore, masking cannot be mandatory. It can be an advisory. So today it's an advisory. We say after you develop corona, you may still have a chance of a reinfection, wear mask. Cannot be mandatory, can be an advisory only.
Dr. Aggarwal, this is
Yes.
Subramaniam again.
Yes.
Just a question. This is just because this is just hearsay talking. Now, we have a lot of slum areas where, I mean, the social distancing is not always possible. But I believe the contamination or the infection rates are much, much lower there. Is it because they have developed herd immunity, or is it that the virus never got there? Or what would be the reason?
Only two of them. Either the virus hasn't yet reached, they are lucky, and they will, the day they develop a virus, they will have a havoc. Like slum areas in Delhi, the virus hasn't reached yet. It reached Bombay, it created a havoc. In slum areas in Delhi, the virus hasn't reached. Or they already have got a subacute infection and cured. Check their seroprevalence.
Okay, thank you.
For every one serious case, there are 30 asymptomatic cases. Remember that. Simple formula. So let me ask Jamal to sum up and close the meeting and invite everybody for a cup of tea in their respected house, and the meeting next time meeting at 9 o'clock.
Thank you so much, Dr. K.K. Aggarwal, President CMAAO. Actually, it's a great privilege for me to sum up. Actually, but I'll be very brief in my summing up. Actually, we are very much beneficiary. Actually, that Dr. Aggarwal, actually, he's just rounded up with six as a year that everybody can just memorize. That yes, I have to do this thing, that thing, and it's academic also. It's good, very good, and here you have done a very good job, and you have done a hard job here also, I can say. Thank you so much for the. And the second thing, actually, Dr. Albin has raised the question. Actually, the third wave in Hong Kong. Actually, it's really worrying. Actually, and we are also just the countries which having the so much prevalence. Actually, now also we have to prepare ourselves for the next waves, because still Dr. Aggarwal was mentioning that actually people are less worried in these regions because the mortality is low. Mortality rate is low. So that is why actually especially the young people, and they are not just maintaining the social distancing and wearing mask. Also, they are not wearing mask. So that is a concern actually for the aged and also the comorbid people. And the number, actually we are just worried because I don't know the next next virus is coming, whether it's mutated or not, and if it comes, and what will be the extent and the virulence of it, we cannot think of it. This is a very much remarkable point actually, and the thing is that it's a very good step actually what from India or from CMAAO, we can say that Puja is mentioned, that success story of National Medical Assistant, that's also we also shared. This is a nice step. And also from JDN, IMA JDN has taken the step, and they have arranged a meeting tomorrow, and it will be I think it's a successful one, and it will be also very good for young doctors, junior doctors. And Dr. Prakash was just raising the point about the gene expert. In Bangladesh also, we have just started this gene expert machine and this testing. This also in conjunction with other RT-PCR testing. It's good. It's good. It's also with less actually it's expensive, what I heard. And from our this chair, Singapore case actually is diminishing. It's okay. but also that they are opening the economy. And this very good point, actually, Dr. Aggarwal has raised, whether this quarantine period could be just avoided while a person going to some other countries. It's also to be thought minutely. And Dr. Subramaniam from Malaysia, he has given us information that new cases are coming up in Singapore, yeah, in Malaysia, and also this is a case of concern. And now, thank you so much. Actually, Dr. Russell Russell D'Souza also mentioned about the condition in Australia. All trouble means, I don't know, it's a domestic trouble or the international trouble. He meant I think it's an international trouble because I have seen this in Melbourne. Actually, the cases, a number of cases are coming down. So I think he mentioned about the international travel only. Maybe I don't know whether in other places of Australia also it has emerged newly or not. Thank you so much, actually, for everybody. We have participated in this good discussion, and I must thank especially Dr. Aggarwal, who is making it very meaningful, and he's taking a lot of trouble and kept CMAAO alive in this sort of meeting, and very effective in this COVID-19 situation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. See you next
Thank
week.
you. Dr. KK, are you going to be there tomorrow or not?
Yes, I am.
Oh, good. I sent I sent all of you are aware of the meeting tomorrow. The discussion panel. It's with interfaith and religion, so from around the world. So those of you I've sent out the invite to all of you. So if you're interested to join, it will be good. Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.